Hi, everyone. I am here. It has been a long time. I think the last time I did a live with the Illuminator was August. Yeah, definitely August. So it's really nice to be back here and connected with everybody. And specifically today, I am planning on talking about two dreams that I just made into a reality in the past month. And what I'm really, really hoping, actually, it's like 2 months ago, but I'm really hoping that in me sharing my dream and sharing how they were realized, the WOW retreat, and my book, which has been published. It's right here, Illuminating the Stories That Bind Us. My sincere hope is that it's going to inspire you to believe in yourself and believe in your dreams. Because I really mean it. If I can do it, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And I know that everybody's dreams are, unique and specific to people. But I really do think, and I talk about it in my book, that there's stages that we go through on the way to a dream or a way to a goal. And if we can just make it through those stages, right? As soon as we name it and we know we want something, like that is when stories start to creep in, or doubt parts and skeptic parts and fear parts and all of it. And so I do talk about that in my book, and I want to talk about my personal experience here, and again, hopefully it will inspire you. So let's start with WOW. My light in my office is censored, and it just went out. Let me just make it come on again. Okay, there we go. All right. Okay, so the Weekend of Wonder retreat, definitely a dream come true. It's just, and the way it all turned out was beyond what I imagined. It's a dream come true because it has been on my heart since, I would say, 2007, 2008, to create space and opportunities, healing opportunities for people. And I love the idea of people being able to leave, get away from their routines, get away from whatever could distract them and pull them away, and be able to just go somewhere else and have that space and opportunity to heal, learn, grow, connect with other people, be creative, be in nature. So I since 2007, 2008 have been working towards it in whatever way I can. I mean, even when you think about a private practice, like, clients come to me for a certain experience, and they leave, whatever, I know, realize virtual is a little bit different, but again, I love the retreats because it's a weekend, or it's an extended period of time. So WOW was a total of, it's really crazy to think about. It was, no more than 48 hours, And people came in and they instantly bonded with one another. They were sharing stories and making each other laugh within moments of arriving on the campus in Rockport, Massachusetts. And that just lit me up. And the other facilitators were just so helpful and just there to make this Weekend of Wonder amazing. And they did. The facilitators, which we called WOW Illuminators, and the participants, which we called Warriors of Wonder. Do I have anyone here that went to WOW that wants to say anything in the comments, or are those of you who are here just interested in my book? You could write retreat, you could write book, but both are dreams that came true. The retreat was in September, and it's funny, I had hoped that the book was going to be on everybody's bed when they arrived to the WOW retreat, but the books did not arrive to my house until 10 p.m. Sunday night, and the retreat ended at around 3 or 4 on Sunday. So I ended up sending them to everybody a month later, because I ended up having things I had to do. I was away. So anyway, but I think it was good. I think it worked out okay. So what made this particular WOW even more a part of my wildest dreams was that it incorporated expressive and performing arts. And the performances at the end, even though people were nervous from the beginning, but the performances at the end were incredible. And the participants really knocked them out of the park. And so it was a dream come true. And did I go through doubt? Yes. Did I go through fear? Yes. Did I, before the retreat itself, it was amazing, and completely in the flow and in my zone of genius. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that. It's from the book, The Big Leap. And it's that state of flow, that state of no time. That was absolutely what I was in during the retreat. But if you rewind, say 3 months or 6 months before, I wasn't sure would I have enough participants to do it. A lot of times I think when we go towards our dreams, and if our dreams require a financial investment of some sort, that can be a story, right? That can be something that could get in the way, that could bind us on our way to our dreams. And so that crept up. Am I going to have enough participants? Am I going to be able to afford this? So I am so grateful that I did work, prior to planning this WOW, and then during the months ahead of time. So that is what I recommend to everyone, is that when you set yourselves on a path towards your dreams, towards your goals, make sure you have the tools to navigate the stories, the doubt, the fears, the limiting beliefs. And I think that that's a perfect segue to my book. So I want to talk a little bit about illuminating the stories that bind us. And again, if there's anyone out there that wants to say hi, please, I'd love to hear from you in the chat box. This was kind of not a last minute illuminator, but I told everybody today about tonight, and it's been a while since I've done them. So it may be a little quiet on the illuminator front, but if there is anyone out there that wants to be a part of this, please say hello. Okay, so here it is. Here is the book. And in this, there's 2 parts. I have one part, the first part 1, which is about illuminating. So illuminating the story that is binding you, illuminating the limiting belief that may be holding you back. So that's the first part. And I'll get into a little bit more details, but I wanted to talk about then the second part is about transforming them. And that's what I mean. That's what I mean about being prepared. Because whenever and I said this before and I'll say it again, whenever we start working towards our goals and our dreams, that is when we question ourselves. It just is. As soon as we name it, as soon as we start taking those steps, the different people I know, Brene Brown, I think, calls them gremlins. Eckhart Tolle calls it ego. I call it stories, and I also use the term parts. So I talk a lot about parts work in here, which is related to internal family systems, which is my favorite approach, favorite therapeutic approach. And so I talk a lot about naming the parts. So naming your doubt part, naming your fear of money part, naming your skeptic, whatever resonates, you name the part that steps in whenever you're going towards your dreams or a goal. And then you do the work to try and calm that part and transform it. So again, I share in this book lots of strategies that you can use to navigate when you bump into stories that become obstacles when you're working towards your dream or your goal. So I give specific examples, specific resources that you can use, as well as tips and tools. I call them shift tips because I found that it's, if you're going down the path towards a dream or a goal, you're on that path, you're on that journey. Sometimes you just need to, shift back to the path or the journey. So if you get distracted or you bump into fear stories or you bump into doubt stories, you may need a shift to get right back on the path. So that is in the second part of transforming your stories. One of the things that I wanted to point out in this book, so you start out with an invitation from me. I just give you an invitation to read the book and speak actually a little bit to the skeptic part. There is a table of contents that describes everything. There is a welcome, which what I love about the welcome is it shares the story of how I came to this book, which I think is interesting. I also wanted to show you this. So this is the key I created. Can you even see it? Probably not. That's great. Oh, there we go. This is the key. So there's a key that talks about certain parts of the book. And this particular it's the first thing named in the key. It's a tool, and it's called a note-taking page. I actually got it from Brene Brown. She talks about it in her Gifts of Imperfection. And she got it from Maria Popova. I hope I'm saying her name right. But I love it. So I'm a very visual person. When I read, especially self-help books like Illuminating the Stories That Bind Us. So I love being able to have something. So like there's the first row is the favorite quotes. So when you come to a favorite quote in this book, you can write the page. I also said timestamp for Audible when that happens, which it will. And then you can write notes, whatever comes up for you. So that's one of my favorite parts of the book. So I just wanted to show you that. So right away, you have that. Other things in the key include, there's a lot of journal prompts in this book. So gives you a heads up about that. There's song prescriptions. For those of you who know Illuminating the Stories That Bind Us, you know how passionate I am about using music to help transform your stories. So the first season of my podcast, Illuminating Stories That Bind Us, what participants would receive a song prescription. So whenever you see a song prescription in here for a story, there's the little musical note. So that's just a little bit about the intro. Right away, I go into common stories. So 7 common stories that bind us. Then the second chapter is on the parts work. Remember, I told you about helping to navigate all the doubt and the fear by naming them as parts, by understanding that there are parts that hold the story. So for example, the story I'm not enough for my family, the parts that may be related to that is like a people pleaser part, an inner critic, perfectionist, guilt tripper, the story I am bad and deserve to be punished, may be a saboteur part or a procrastinator or destroyer. So that's, so on and so forth. Then I go into a foundation. So creating a foundation before going forward. So I invite the reader, and there's a worksheet. I invite the reader to illuminate one of their stories. So they go step by step. We did this at the retreat. We did this at WOW. Everybody before they came to WOW talked about a dream or a goal, and they shared it with me ahead of time. And they could change it, if at the retreat there was something that came up that made them want to change it, they could change it. And we then, when we were at the retreat, the first thing that we did, besides like the icebreakers and building rapport, was the step-by-step, same thing from here, illuminating a story that binds you. And you can use it over and over and over again. Whenever, I always say, if you are having a charged emotional pattern, so if you are having some sort of fight or flight or freeze, there's a really, really, really good chance there is a story. So the emotional charge is a signal, and you can use that as at the trailhead, which in IFS, I love that term, is using a trailhead in that work, kind of knowing which part to work with first. So that is then a part of chapter 3. At the end of chapter 3, there is this worksheet that helps you illuminate the story. And then I have to be honest, I have a lot of favorite parts of my book, and this is definitely one of them: stories in relationships. We are constantly projecting our stories on other people, and we are assuming that people think certain stories about us, and we're holding stories, right, that are interfering with our relationships. So when I say stories in relationships, I mean any relationship. It could be with a colleague, it could be with a friend, it could be with a spouse or a partner, it could be any relationship. And this chapter talks about just examples of ways that we take on other people's stories, put stories on other people, and how they interfere with our relationships. And besides my personal example, and I even give a sample of a technique. So I have a technique, the layers of stories technique, and this technique can be used with any relationship. Any relationship, you can use it on your own, or you can use it with a partner, and it will help you discover what stories are getting in the way of your relationship, that are binding you or trapping you in just not having the relationship evolve in the ways that it could. So that is that. After we finish with stories in relationships, and I even talk about gossip, there's a section where, excuse me, there is a section where I talk about being mindful of gossip, because that is how we perpetuate stories that bind people. We are far more than our stories. Like, even if there's a layer of the story that's true, even if there's a part of the story that's true, we're so complex as humans. And it's not fair that we slap a label onto someone or say something about someone and then, don't see anything beyond that. And sometimes gossip can do that. And I'm not saying this from a judgmental place. We all gossip. I gossip, right? I do my best not to, but it can happen. And so how do we not only become more mindful of it in the most gentle, compassionate way, but also mindful of why we do it? So that's that part. Then in chapter 6, it's the importance of illuminating the stories that bind us. So basically, why? Well, why illuminate? Why is it so important? And then I even have a checklist, like how do you know it's time for you to illuminate? And then the rewards of illuminating. So what happens? You clear your path towards your dreams. Your relationship with yourself and others improve. These are some of the rewards of illuminating. And then there's the obstacles when illuminating and transforming our stories. And that's where I told you I then do shift tips. You can't say that too fast. Shift tips is shift. Yeah, you can't. So basically for every obstacle, so say the first one says you believe the stories are real or true. So that would be an obstacle, right? A story that's binding you. You believe the stories are real or true. So how do you get beyond that? Shift tip number 1 says very little in life is black and white. I was just talking about that, right? Shift tip number 2 is Byron Katie and the work. Another shift tip is Brene Brown's hack. And then another shift tip that I talk about is all of me or just a piece of me. So if there is some sort of story, can you identify, that it's just a part of you that holds that story? It's just a piece of you. So that's another shift tip. And then gentle investigation of the story's effectiveness. So there's other obstacles. And then, like I said, I'll shift tips to help you navigate if you experience that obstacle. There's some stuff on forgiveness as well. And then part 2 is transforming your story. So it opens up to defining our dreams and the roadmap to get there. And then I talk about little dreams and big dreams. And then, like I said, I talk about the stages of our dreams. I call it the divine dream dance. And that is my book, Illuminating the Stories That Bind Us. So for those of you who are interested in purchasing it, it is available on Amazon. And I'm going to just put that here in the comments. And it's just a link that you can use to purchase a book. I would be so honored and hope that it helps you illuminate and transform any story or stories that stand between you and your fully expressed life of joy and bliss. Because I really believe that following our dreams brings joy and brings bliss. Is there anyone on here that wants an oracle card pulled for them? I didn't have interaction with anyone today in this particular live with the Illuminator, but I just trust it. And it's a Monday night in autumn. I decided this last minute, but you know what? It's okay anyway. I feel like it's important for me to just show up for these, and if you build it, they will come, right? So even though I didn't have many people here today, I'm grateful to be here, grateful to have various platforms. And if anyone does watch the recording of this and wants to reach out and ask me any questions, you are welcome to. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull a card for me. So here I am on here. It seems to be alone, and that's okay. And I'm going to just pull a card for me. Let's see which one. Release. Release. I move in harmony. Change me, divine beloved, into one who easily releases all that's ready to go. Let me move in harmony with your natural cycles. That's a good one. That's a good one. I don't know how it relates to this, but I still trust. To anyone who watches this or is watching this, I thank you so much for being here. And I hope all of you have a wonderful night. And I'll try to give more advance notice for my live with the Illuminator. It was my first time back, and I just wanted to just get it out there and say that I would be here and show up. So take care, everyone. And I'm grateful for you. If you have any questions about following your dreams and illuminating the stories that are binding you on your way there, please contact me, the Illuminator. Take care. Bye.